Hello everyone, welcome to Full Moon Movies. 30 Days of Night, released in 2007, directed by David Slade, is a terrifying and intense horror film based on the graphic novel of the same name by Steve Niles and Ben Temple-Smith. The film takes a fresh approach to the vampire genre, introducing a brutal and relentless breed of vampires that prey on an isolated town in Alaska. With its dark, snowy atmosphere and relentless action, 30 Days of Night stands out as one of the most intense and memorable horror films of its time. The film is set in Barrow, Alaska, a remote town that experiences a full month of darkness every winter due to its location near the Arctic Circle. As the town prepares for the 30 days of night, strange events begin to occur. Dogs are slaughtered, phones are destroyed, and all means of escape are cut off. Soon, a group of vampires led by their ruthless leader Marrow, played by Danny Huston, descends upon the town, turning it into a feeding ground. Sheriff Eben Olson, played by Josh Hartnett, and his estranged wife Stella, played by Melissa George, must lead a small group of survivors as they struggle to stay hidden from the vampires and survive the month-long nightmare. As the days pass, the town's population dwindles, and the remaining survivors are forced to make difficult decisions in order to stay alive. Unlike traditional vampires that are often depicted as seductive or elegant, the vampires in 30 Days of Night are monstrous, animalistic, and ruthless. They communicate in a strange, eerie language and show no mercy towards their victims. Their design by pale skin, sharp teeth, and black eyes makes them look inhuman and terrifying. Danny Huston's performance as Marlowe is chilling. He brings an eerie intelligence to the role, making the vampires feel like more than just mindless killers. His cold, calculated demeanor and terrifying presence add to the film's horror. Unlike the classic Dracula-inspired vampires, these creatures are purely driven by hunger and destruction, making them some of the most terrifying vampires in modern horror cinema. One of the film's greatest strengths is its cinematography and use of setting. The bleak, snow-covered landscape of Burroughs creates a sense of isolation and doom. The long stretches of darkness adds to the tension, making the audience feel the survivors' desperation. The film uses shadows and lighting effectively, with moments of silence and sudden bursts of violence, keeps the viewers on the edge. The overhead shots of the vampires ramping through the town is one of the most visually striking moments in the film. The scene shot from above captures the chaos and brutality of the attack, making it one of the most memorable moments in horror. Josh Hartnett delivers one of the best performances as Sheriff Eben Olson. His character starts off as a man simply trying to maintain order, but as situations worsen, he is forced to become the leader and protector. His chemistry with Melissa George, who plays his wife Stella, adds emotional weight to the film. Their strained relationship makes their survival effort even more compelling, as they must work together despite their personal conflicts. Eben's character arc reaches a powerful conclusion with a sacrifice that is both heroic and heartbreaking. His final confrontation with the vampires is a defining moment that cements the 30 Days of Night as more than just a mindless horror film. It is a story about survival, sacrifice, and resilience in the face of pure evil. 30 Days of Night was released at a time when vampire films were leaning towards more romantic and stylized versions like Underworld, Twilight. This film, however, brought vampires back to the terrifying roots, depicting them as brutal, primal hunters. It reinvigorated interest in horror films featuring vampires as true monsters rather than tragic anti-heroes. The film's success led to a sequel of 30 Days of Night, Dark Days. Now, that actually failed to capture the intensity and horror of the original. Now, despite mixed reviews from critics, the film has maintained a strong fan following and is often considered one of the best vampire films in the 2000s. In conclusion, 30 Days of Night is a relentless, terrifying horror film that stands out in the vampire genre. With its brutal action, atmospheric setting, and strong performances, it delivers a thrilling and unforgettable cinematic experience. If you're a fan of horror films that don't shy away from tension and violence, 30 Days of Night is a must-watch. Its unique premise and terrifying villains ensure that it remains one of the most chilling vampire films ever made. Now, this movie is a must-watch.